up, Joseph?
What's going on, Charlie?
Not much. How was your week?
It was good, man. Everything's going well. At meetings, picking up more hours at work. What about you?
Awesome. Yeah, I just, I did a lot of meetings this week. That's about it.
Yeah.
So today's a very special day. We have a special guest, Tara.
Extra special.
Yeah, extra special. So we're going to give the mic over to Tara to tell us her story. And,
Yeah, sure.
We'll go from there. All right, Tara. Well, go ahead.
Take it away.
Well, good morning, you guys.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for asking me to be a part of this.
Of course.
It's really a privilege and an honor, just like it is to be sober since 12/4 of the year 2000.
That's crazy.
Right?
Congratulations.
Well, thank
That's
you
a blessing
so much.
right there.
I started drinking because I wanted to fit in. I never felt like I fit in socially. I never felt that I could be accepted. So I started drinking in 7th grade, and that did not turn out well. I ended up in the hospital getting my stomach pumped through my nose for alcohol poisoning.
Wow.
That didn't stop me though. And I had many, many years of deplorable behavior all through high school. I didn't want to go to college. And in my 20s, just a lot of drinking, some other things, but everything was to take me out of myself. I did not feel that I was worth anything. I did not feel that I could cope. And it's funny because all those years of numbing myself, I never had any, it didn't, even though alcohol was my solution, it allowed me to stay like the mentality of a 7th grader. When I first started drinking, I didn't grow socially. I didn't grow emotionally. So I kind of like never matured. So even though alcohol was the answer, I didn't realize how much that was really deterring my ability and my growth. So what had happened is that person who drank to be cool and to fit in 7th grade and all through that time ended up where alcohol became a necessity. I moved to Long Island. I had only been dating this man for about 3 months, and he got a promotion. I grew up in Jersey, on the Jersey Shore, and I had been dating this gentleman for about 3 months, and he got promoted to open up stores out here on Long Island. And of course, everybody, my friends and family were like, yeah, you gotta go, because of course, they think the geographical change. You know, I'm going to come to Long Island. Everything's going to be different. And all it did was pull me away from friends and family. And I had no friends and family on Long Island. And so I worked really, really hard. So, you know, it's like always one thing or another, you know. So the gentleman I was with, we both worked like 80 hours a week in retail. And then I drank. And I had my only son. I had my son Thomas, and Tom, being the gentleman that he was, asked me to marry him. And, you know, it wasn't a big love affair of a marriage or anything, but soon after that, about 2 years after Thomas, I asked him to have another child because I thought, again, how alcohol warps your mind. I thought creating a family was going to give us this happy little life with the white picket fence, and all it did was it just drove us further apart. You know, it was more responsibility, more this, more that. I gravitated to the other moms that like to have mimosas at playgroups in the morning. I gravitated to the you know, Thomas playing Little League and stuff. I gravitated to all the other parents that love to just party after the kids' games. And I just, everything was a party. Going to see my sisters in Jersey to visit my, family and stuff. It just, everything revolved around alcohol until the point where I couldn't make it through a day. I remember one day I was trying to control my drinking, and I had had 6 beers before 12 o'clock, and I thought that was great control.
Excellent. Excellent.
And that's incredible, And so here's this girl who started drinking to be cool, and ended up being a drunk mom. And one day I was doing some yard work, and I was coming in and out, rake a pile of leaves, come in, do a shot, and eventually I fell. And I almost went through a glass table, and I laid there with drool coming out of my mouth, and I had like an outer body experience, and I saw myself laying there, like I was above myself, looking down, and I said, "This isn't what God wants for you." And that was my wake-up call. And the next day, I called a girl that I had met I knew she was in recovery, and she took me to my first meeting. And thank God I haven't had a drink since then. But please don't detox yourself like I did. It was 3 days of hell, coming out of my skin, hearing voices, just not knowing if it was day or night. I was just an absolute mess. Please just, it's really a good idea to seek medical help to detox. And then it's so funny how like that third day, it's like all of a sudden a new world opened up. It was like I had shed, almost like a snake. I had shed this skin, and I had felt like this new person. I fell in love with the way I felt physically in the beginning of sobriety. And the reason for that was I didn't have to wake up and see who the hell I called the night before. And one of the biggest fears was, where are my children? Like when it was my turn for my children, and the scary part of that is that my marital residence, which I was asked to leave during the divorce, had a pool. So how crazy is that, to be a drunk mom at home in charge and, supposedly, be responsible for your children, and there was a pool there. So, thank God that I was being watched over, and I was blessed. I believe a lot of that has to do, I think my mother, who unfortunately died when she was very young. She was only 54 years old. I never knew how to deal with it. And I believe my mom has always watched over me. I just believe she's always been in my life. And, it's so funny because people always say to me, "Oh my God, you look so much like your mother." And I just feel like that's the best compliment in the whole world, because I just really, really, I just love that, And one of the reasons that I bring that up is that I never dealt with my mother's death. I didn't know how. The only thing I knew how to do was drink. And so, of course, when we were at the restaurant after my mother's burial, everybody was going out to, have drinks. That's what you do. And I remember Tom saying to me, "Tara, we got to get back to Long Island." Only Thomas was born at the time. He was 2 years old. And I was like, "What do you mean we got to go back to Long Island?" I'm like, "I got to go out with my friends. This is big drinking time. I just lost my mother, like free drinks, and every bar we go to." And he's like, "I got to get back for work. We got a long trip back. We're going to hit some, we got to go." And I remember getting in that car, and just the ride home was horrific until I finally shut up. And I just remembered like a light switch went off inside of me. I'm like, I do not like this man, and I'm going to make his life a living hell. And I did. And that's why when, we come into the rooms of AA and you start working what's called the fourth step, and people are so scared of this fourth step, but that resentment that I had towards Tom because he wouldn't let me go drink ruined my marriage. And that's how powerful a resentment can be. And that's why they say resentments will take you right back out. You got to work on them right away.
Right.
You know, the first time you do an inventory and you start to look at yourself, you kind of pick out your character defects and stuff. You kind of see what makes you tick and things that you got to do. But as you go along in recovery and you start doing a nightly review, the nightly review, I've always been told, is there somebody that's, really bugging? Is there something that's repeating and repeating and repeating in your head? That's how I always pick out a resentment. Because I always call them the stories that never end. Because you are replaying that and you start saying what you're going to say and how's it's going to come out. Those are resentments, things that you keep replaying because you're not at peace with it. And a quick fourth step is to name three things about, like, say I have resentment against Tom, and right away I say he's so judgmental, he's so says things that are inappropriate, or and I write down 3 characteristics, and then I ask myself, what's my part in that, and when have I done those things? And all of a sudden you realize you're just as human as that person, and you never know what they're going through. And just because he's saying things, I know lots of times he says things to be funny, my ex-husband, and I know lots of times he says things to feel superior. I'm never going to change that person. The only person I can change is me and how I react to it. But if I let it keep getting to me and I let that resentment keep playing on and on and on, I'm the one that's hurting me. So I have to let it go. When I first came in, I didn't know what an alcoholic was. I raised my hand because I wanted to be a part of, again. So I just said, hi, I'm Tara and I'm an alcoholic. And I really dug in and read what an alcoholic was, and I knew right away when they said you had that insatiable desire for more, it made me understand why I was the last one at the damn bar all the time. I could get there first, I could get there in the middle, always the last one. Even as far back as, high school and in my early 20s, we used to have an ocean ice palace, and, there was a skating rink, but during the summer, they would take the ice away, and the guys would play street hockey, but not with rollerblades, just with your sneakers.
That kind of, yeah.
And so we were called the Scarlet Begonias, and, we were always the first, I was always the first one at the Idle Hour and the last one to leave, the local bar, and so it happened way back when. There never was enough. I'd go out at night, come home, when I was married, and I would, we just were out, we had drinks with dinner and everything, and I come home, and now I gotta have a nightcap. I had to have this, and then, my husband would go to bed and I'd still be up drinking. Like it just was that insatiable desire, for more and more and more of the alcohol. And I learned that my body doesn't, break down alcohol like other people.
Right.
It just doesn't, and, there's a time when you can say, why me? But guess what? I say, thank God. If this is going to be my burden in life, thank you, Lord, that this is what I'm going to have, because it introduced me to a program of recovery that changes your life. And if you don't change, then shame on you, because you're going to stay stuck. I say stagnation in this program is the death of it, Yeah. I also learned that it's okay to surrender. I'm always that person that I used to handle everything with anger because I didn't know any other way. I would yell and scream and I got my way. So it worked. Hey, why not? Why use anything else? And I hurt a lot of people, and I made atmospheres horrible. And my mother used to say to me, Tara, you can change the atmosphere of a whole room. And I'd be like, what do you mean by that? And I learned that people can feel you before they hear you. You come in a room with a rotten attitude or any kind of thing, people feel that, And I learned that when my children were little, they can fear you when you're out of your mind and not in the right headspace and all of that. And I didn't want that anymore. I didn't want to ruin anybody else's life because I always felt like such a misfit and didn't fit in. and I didn't want to hurt anybody. And, the alcohol, when I drank and became so intoxicated, really wasn't me. It wasn't who I wanted to be. I would say and do and be promiscuous, and I was just a nut. I was just craving everything outside of my body to fix the inside of me because I was so hollow. Nothing was in there. There was no confidence. There was no, little side joke. There was no, that a girl. It's funny because there was nobody in my life when I said, oh, I don't want to go to college. There was nobody to say, Tara, college, let go. Let's do something better for yourself. Your grades start failing, build yourself up, go. I never really had that. So my whole life, it felt like I was just in a constant state of stress. Like my shoulders are up by my ears and I'm like this and I'm going to fight the world. Here goes Tara against the world, and that was me. I was like a bull, and I plowed through people. Like it says, you wake up when they come out of the storm cellar and, and they're like, oh, gee, Mom, the wind stopped blowing. Meanwhile, everybody's destroyed around you. That was me, and I just didn't want to be like that anymore. And I knew I wanted to be out of the pain that I was in. And I learned in the program that I don't have to fix this by myself anymore, that I can lean on a higher power. I can lean on the people in the group, which is called the fellowship. I can lean on other people that have been through this process, whether you have a day or 99 years. Let me just tell you something. You can get something from anybody in this program because everybody is just trying to rid themselves of this awful pain. Sometimes we come in just to get rid of the bad things, but it's just like you just want to get rid of the pain that you're in and you just want to live in peace and serenity. And, it's funny because sometimes now I'll be sitting in my backyard and I'll be on the swing and there's nothing going on and I'm just sitting there and I'm like, I think this is what they call serenity. When everything's just not, believe you me, there are days when I'm like, oh my goodness, like stuff's just coming at me left and right. And, but I know today that I have the tools to be okay. I also learned that, with my children, all children want to know is that their parents are okay. They don't want to know all your other crap, So I today, I share with my children lots of the different things that I've learned in this program. Neither of them have problems with anything, but they lots of times will come back using the things that I've learned. My biggest goal was to get right with people. My whole life I was in the doghouse. I woke up every day, oh God, how am I going to fix this? How am I going to get out of that? Once I learned a lot of things about myself in the 4th and 5th steps, and I learned about my character defects and spoke with my higher power about them, I got right with everybody that in my immediate family, with my ex-husband, with so many people that I affected their lives with my drinking, And once I became a member of society again and a worker among workers, and it's just, there's no better feeling in the world to just get right with those about us, And, I do at night review my day to see if I owe anybody an apology, if I could have done something a little better. I'm all about, if you look at my bookcase, you'll see a bunch of self-help books, but none of it's any good unless you put it into action, And so what I learned from my first inventory is to thoughtfully reflect upon yourself is where it's all about. Introspect. And that's what I do on a nightly basis is I introspect my day. Where could I have gotten better? Biggest thing in my life is that, I connect with God every morning, throughout the day and in the evening. I'm thankful for so much in my life. I'm very, very blessed. I know that one of the biggest things is to give this program away to, what was freely given to us. And the thing about that is that I've had a lot of people ask me to be their sponsor. I have to tell you, it's not one of my biggest points. For some reason, people fall off, or a lot of different reasons. So one of the things that I do to give back, and that is I do a book club on Sunday mornings, and it's women from my home group and from around, and we read books that are AA approved. We did Drop the Rock, Ripple Effect. We did A Woman's Way Through the 12 Steps. We just did a book so funny that we believe was written by Joe and Charlie, even though they didn't want to put it in there, but we just read. It's called A Program for You. And the girls come. I put coffee on. We sit and we talk. We read the book, and then we talk about it. We talk, and it's so cool sometimes. And it's incredible because there has been Sunday mornings that somebody's going through something, and the whole time we're together, we just are there talking about, what we did to get through things. And it's amazing and it's all lengths of sobriety. And it's just so incredible to have a fellowship, and I just don't think that I could be more blessed to have such a fellowship, to love to read the big book. I know that sounds crazy, but I just feel like you just find something new every time you read it. You're like, hey, I didn't see that before.
Yeah, that 100%.
And just different things. I do read a book every morning called In God's Care, and I love it. That has so strengthened my connection with my higher power. So that's how I try to give back, is through the book club. I just haven't had the best results with taking people through the steps. It seems to just never quite go that way. I'm a big person about doing step work. I've been to many step workshops. So another thing that I just wanted to say was that there was a very, very prominent thing that happened in my life. When I was 1 year sober, excuse me, I had started going to a step workshop meeting with some old timers. They had seen me. They knew that I was making like a meeting here and there. It was my first year of sobriety, and I know they say no major changes, but my first year of sobriety was anything but. I had just gotten divorced. So the judge asked me to leave my marital home. So my sister Sharon helped me put money down on a house for me, bought me a car. I had been an at-home mom for 8 years, did not know what a gift that was until I had to go back to work. So I got a job, a full-time job, and I started going to school at night 3 nights a week. So talk about no major changes. Holy crap, right? So when my first sponsor said to me, well, you're going to have to get a babysitter for your kids so that you can make more meetings. And I said to her, I can't do that. I just fought for 2 years for my kids in a court of law. I can't do that. She says, well, I can't be your sponsor. I said, okay. So I just didn't even have a sponsor. So thank God these old timers saw me and they said, Tara, we're doing a step workshop down in the basement of St. Mary's Church. We want you to come. So I was like, okay. So I went and one of the members, Jimmy P, said to me, Tara, you're going to come back next week, right? And I was like, your first year of sobriety and you're new and you still have so many attitudes and chips on your shoulder. And I'm like, walk into my car like, yeah, I'm really coming back to this stupid shit. And then I have time for this. And get to my car. Well, you know what? I was back and I was back early. And you know why? Because that man took 5 minutes out of his life to change the course of my life. And it's because he asked me to come back. He wanted me to be there. And no, that's never happened to me. I never felt that feeling of being wanted. And I believe that feeling has always made me stay in the rooms of AA. And I try to make people feel very welcome, because that totally changed the course of my life. And then another thing that changed the course of my life, do not judge a book by its cover. I had met this gentleman. He kept asking me to go out for coffee. I'm like, oh, what's he going to pick me up on his bike? We're going to go out for coffee. What is this guy talking about? So finally, I sent him this huge text. You don't know how busy I am. I work 2 jobs. And it was like a whole page text. He writes back to me, I didn't ask you to elope. I asked you to go to coffee. Well, he won my heart. So that was it. So I actually kidnapped him like a week later. I said to him, when are you free? When are you free? We found a day, and I kidnapped him, and we spent the afternoon together. And his name's Billy, and he was on fire for the program, like so on fire, making meetings, so into taking people through the steps, just so into everything. And it changed the course of my recovery. Unbelievable person, so on fire for the program. And if you think you're working a great program, wait till you meet up with someone who's on fire for the program, because boy, oh boy, you jump back in, and you jump back in quick. And you know what? With different people going out after, I had just heard yesterday morning a woman after 27 years went back out. I'm so glad that I met Billy, and he came into my life and put a fire back under my program, because now I'm right back on course. And it's an amazing journey, and I meet a lot of amazing people, and it's definitely a great way to change yourself, because the pain subsides and you really get a glimpse of what heaven must be like, because that's what you get a glimpse of when you're sober for a while and you change the person that came in the rooms. Thank you.
Oh, thank you,
Wow.
Sarah.
Thank you.
First of all, very
Amazing.
very powerful.
Yes.
As you can see, I did a little bit of notes.
Okay.
Yeah. You did.
I normally don't do
A lot
that.
of good notes.
Something
That was incredible.
I have to ask
Thank you.
So when you drank,
Yes.
right? You were trying to fill a void. You keep saying, I have no confidence. I have no this, that, whatever feelings that you seek for, right? But you had those things when you drank, correct?
It didn't matter
But
anymore.
but my question is this:
Oh, geez, here we go.
you had those things in you when you drank.
Yeah, I got
So
false.
that's-
I got a
that's-
false bravado.
Yeah.
But it's in you, and you have
Yeah.
the same issue.
I have the
Joe.
same exact
Okay.
issues. That's
I'm
what gives
not-
me that
listen.
fake confidence.
Yeah.
I don't protrude confidence because that's the person I am. I just realized that when I drank, because
Yeah.
I felt the same way what you just said. I drank because now I can walk in a room and be like, "Hey, what's up? What
Yeah,
are you
yeah,
doing?"
yeah.
Blah, blah,
Yeah,
blah.
it gives
Yeah.
you.
Now
yeah.
I can do that without drinking.
Yeah.
I was able to do it before. It's not the drink that made you do that. It's inside you. You want to be that person. Maybe you just don't know how to fester it. Where I believe, like I said, you have it in you. First of all, you just spoke so confidently for the last
That was incredible.
however minutes that
Yeah.
you were just speaking. And every time you speak is powerful.
Yeah.
I will say this again. I don't want to. For some reason, over the last 3 years or so that I've been trying to get sober, nothing's really been working until this time around where something just clicked in my head like, hey, you got to this isn't for you. Like, you change your life. And you, like you said, things around you do change. And I'm seeing that in my kids and everything else. I always shunned women meaning in my sobriety. Like, men and women shouldn't be getting sober together. So a lot of times when I go to meetings, if a woman's, I'm not like that now. Lately, I've been learning better. But a lot of times when a woman, and I don't mean to be sexist at all, but like a woman speaking, I'm like, I can't relate. It's a woman. I got to hear it from a guy's point of view because I don't know. I'm a guy, and a guy's got it. But every time you speak, there's always something that I'm like, wow, holy shit. I mean, there's a couple of people. I'm not. Anyone that listens
no.
that don't think that when you say something, I'm like, ah, she's an
You
idiot.
never know who's going to tell your story.
Right, but
can learn
I'm just
something from
saying
anyone.
now I'm starting to, when you're in inpatient. They separate men and women.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it's
Well,
like
you know
Yeah, but that's
why
for
that
obvious
is.
reasons.
well,
bro.
Right?
I understand why, yes. But my point is, like, so when I got out, I'm like,
Yeah, I get that.
I can't listen to that.
No,
They want you to focus on sobriety. They don't want you to focus on, you see a hot guy across the room. You know what
Rehab
I mean?
romances.
Understood.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I just, again,
Rehab romances,
we've
you know?
spoken
When we
about
get
this.
out.
Joe and I have spoken about this. I don't go to AA to pick up. That's not my
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
But you see it. But are those the people that are really trying to get?
Well, that's a
sober?
lot of people
Probably
too
not.
who have codependency issues as well.
Sure.
And like what you were saying before, I think a lot of addicts and alcoholics suffer with that. Like, you know, for me, low self-esteem, low self-worth, and drinking and drugging has given us that fake ego confidence booster. Like I was telling you last week on that podcast when I went to that party, I was actually, you know, back in the real world. It's like, you know, I haven't been to a regular party in a while, and I went through that awkward. I sat at a table with people I didn't know,
Okay.
and they were all drinking, and it
Okay.
didn't bother me. But I went through that awkward period
Yeah.
of like, if I had a few drinks, I'd loosen up.
Yeah.
You know, so
yeah.
I noticed that, and I got through it, and it was
Yeah.
fine. But
It passes.
It passes.
That initial
Yeah,
awkwardness
exactly.
does pass. It
Yes.
happens with everything. You know,
Absolutely.
everything you start to do a lot of things.
But that's
you got to start to do
a
sober.
exactly, and that's a common thing. Like
Yeah.
low self-esteem. I mean, for me,
I think it's not only confidence though. I think it's the fear. I think
yeah.
it's more of a fear. I've
Absolutely.
always been afraid to make a mistake. I never learned how to laugh at myself and
Yeah.
just be say la vie. I didn't ever learn that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I told you the time I pulled the door instead of pushed it, and you would have you would have thought that I murdered somebody. I was like hated myself, you know,
Yeah.
like so stupid, you know. But I think more of it. Not only the confidence to walk into a room, but you're so afraid of the judgments against
Fear
you.
of judgment.
Fear of judgment.
that's why I still have problems sharing.
Yeah.
Like
But
I still don't like getting my. It depends. I'm getting better with it, obviously, but because I'm sharing
Let me-
more. But it depends. Like fear.
All
It's
right,
fear
so
of judgment.
let me ask you both this then. If someone has a bad judgment of you, how does that affect you?
I think because, you know, in the world, you know, like, I don't know, I guess I want people to view me in a good light.
But no matter who you are,
Yeah.
it's not everyone.
You can't ever do that. Do you know what
Listen,
I mean?
I'm
It really has to come from within you.
I understand that. Like to me, I know there's plenty of people out there that think I'm an asshole. I know that. And but guess what? I don't let it bother me.
I know that too.
Yeah.
Like I just yeah, thanks. But my point is that it's like it is what you can't please everyone.
No, you
I
can't.
think it's the
You can't.
like fear, just normal fear.
I guess
social
acceptance,
fears.
acceptance, you know. It's it's fitting. Like you were saying, part
And again,
of your,
I'm not knocking. I understand
Yeah.
these feelings, and don't
Yeah.
forget, I have them too.
Yeah.
But I might
But
just
I think
think
it-
about it in my head when I go home at night.
It's like you hear all the time. When I was drinking,
Yeah.
I'd go to the supermarket with makeup on,
Yeah.
you know, dressed real nice, whatever. But I had been drinking all
Yeah.
day. Didn't matter. Now, look at this is what you see is what you get.
There's
Do you know what I'm
nothing wrong
saying?
with that.
So do you know that's what
Yeah.
I'm saying? It changes because
Absolutely.
you learn to accept yourself.
All right.
And that only happened through working in the program to understanding that what my strengths are. Because not only when you do the fourth step are you looking at your weaknesses or character defects and stuff. My sponsor was like, Tara, you are an amazing, caring person. Stop
Exactly,
your nonsense.
exactly.
Well, we
You
don't.
know?
I mean, I don't see that a lot of times too. But like a
Well, you're
party,
not a caring person.
a part of your story, I identified with. It's a little different, but it's the same thing. Acceptance. Like when I grew up in Brooklyn. I moved out to
Okay.
Long Island. When I moved out to Long Island, I was still a kid, and I didn't fit in.
Okay.
You know, I was looked at like the bad city kid. And as soon as I started hanging around with the wrong crowd, I looked for that as acceptance.
Okay.
To make friends and stuff. You know, so I don't know. It's just you look for. I guess it's something for me when I was younger, looking for acceptance, trying to fit in. You know, shit like that.
I said, when I drank, I always felt that way as well. But now that I look at things
Yeah.
The way I look at things now is, listen, if you don't accept me, that's you. That's fine.
Yeah.
I don't have
Yeah.
to make friends with
No.
I used to always feel like, all right, so I used to always feel like I had to make friends everywhere I went. I could go to a bar by myself, and I could leave with 10 guys. Like, hey, what's up? Where are we going now? All of a sudden, we're friends. What?
What did he just say?
I could go with 10 guys, meaning me, friends.
Oh, I took that the wrong way.
Whoa.
I knew
Easy.
his head
Easy.
whipped, and I
Yeah,
was
no,
like,
no.
"Oh, this is gonna be good."
No, so meaning like, where are we going now? Or whatever. Like
Yeah.
I was always that guy, but now it's like I don't feel like I need to turn a room over. I don't.
Well, that's good.
I don't
mean,
care.
Yeah.
I'm going to a room like
Yeah.
I'm gonna see like yesterday. I knew I was gonna see you. I knew I was gonna see John. I knew I was gonna see Corey. I knew we were gonna have a good meeting. I didn't know who else was gonna show up, but whatever. Who cares? And for some reason on Saturdays you always hang around after and just BS.
That's been so much fun, right?
Yeah, to me.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I feel like these rooms. That's what it brings you. Like you find real people. I wasn't really hanging out with real people when I was drinking.
No.
No, not at
You know what
all.
I mean, I don't talk to those people
Acquaintances.
at all
Acquaintances.
anymore. One guy still calls me.
Yeah.
And he's a friend of mine. I love him. Thank God he lives in Florida.
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
I there's no way I could go out with the guy. But I love speaking to him. I love talking to him. And he wants to get back. He at one point was sober, and I used to send him emails. You want to do some shots tonight? And
Yeah.
Stupid shit. Like
Oh, one of those guys.
I was an asshole.
Yeah.
I never said the asshole left me. I just use it a lot
Yeah.
less.
Definitely
that's
didn't
all.
believe you.
But it's just weird. It's funny because Joe, you Tara, like you guys speak with confidence, and yet you feel like you don't.
It's
We're
funny
similar.
because we're very similar. Like, it's funny because the more you work in the program, the more you're around, you're going to find there's every walk of life that's in the rooms.
Yeah.
Okay. And, you're just open to everybody because you're hoping that everybody's there for the same reason. You find that a lot of people aren't,
Of course, yeah.
But then you find some really true, really good people. And that's what it's almost like in life when they say if you end up with 5 really good friends, you're
So
doing
true.
well.
Right.
That's kind of how I feel like in AA. If there's like a group of, 10 people that I can call or something like that, in all these years,
Yeah.
that I'll tell you, and, I've met some people that'll drop anything and be there for you, and I have some, and I stay in touch with them, and then you have some other people that you're never really gonna be a part of their circle, and that's okay.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that today.
Right.
I'm okay because I have my relationship with my higher power. I wouldn't have the life I have today if God didn't love me as much as He does, and that's how I feel. I feel that way. I'm looking
I
at
don't
you
know
like
why you're both are fucking looking at me. I understand.
Do you know what I mean?
Again, you both know I
yeah.
struggle with that, but
Yeah.
that's
You
all
get
right.
And a handful of friends is perfect for me.
Yeah.
Me
At
too.
one time, I
genuinely
would have
care.
loved, I would have loved to have,
Genuinely care about you.
like I said to you guys, oh my God, your phones are all blowing up,
Yeah.
I would love that. Who wouldn't love their phone to be blowing up?
That's all
But you know
nonsense.
what? It's just
all
not, But I
Joe's
have,
trying
but I
to
have.
protect his ass. It was my mom. It was my mom.
Oh, sorry.
ass.
Well,
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
But
Such a
and it's the
dickhead.
quality of the friends.
See, I told you
that
I could
have
be an
now.
asshole.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
It is the
It's
quality.
the
'cause
quality of the friends,
when
not the quantity.
No, when you're
No,
out
I
drinking and
100%
drugging,
agree.
like you're like, this is how I noticed it. You're only when you have groups like that, you're only getting together to party.
Right.
If it wasn't for partying, if we put the drink or the drug down, we're not going to be together. What else are we going to do?
Yeah.
You know? And then recovery has showed me I have genuine people in my life today that actually give a fuck and care about me.
Yeah.
And it's an amazing feeling. And we were talking about that the other day because with the more time you start getting, the more relapses around you start happening.
Yeah.
And the group that we kind of created, we're all strong.
Pretty solid
Like it's a
group of
solid
guys.
group, and we're sticking together. My friend Dennis just lost. I don't know if you knew him.
just
Somebody
saw it on
in the
Facebook.
Thanks for Sharing group who was a moderator when we first started it. He passed away like 2 weeks ago, and then which was close to my friend Dennis, and he just lost another friend yesterday or the day before.
Oh
They
my
just posted
goodness.
yesterday, I believe.
Yeah,
Oh my
yesterday.
goodness.
And that's the harsh reality is that we're dying, you know? And it's scary, but it keeps me grounded, and it keeps me always sticking with the people, you know, who want recovery and who want to better themselves and who want to, you know, continue to grow. I mean, like, I'm not getting sober just to get sober. I'm getting sober to learn how to live. I'm getting sober how to be happy with myself.
Right.
I'm getting sober how to, you know, start a whole new life. You know?
And on that note also, it's not a social club for me.
No.
It shouldn't be.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is a place this is life or death.
Absolutely.
Do you know what I mean? So that's why when you end up with that small group of people, I can call and say, listen, I'm having a really hard time today. You know, you definitely, you know, use of my sponsor and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But there's a support group that I have that I can say, listen, I don't know how to handle this, or I don't know what to do with this, or, you know, what do you think about this?
Yeah.
And that's because I never shared any of that because, again, it came from that fear of judgment. I didn't share this stuff. I just handled it. Tara, you know, I'm going to buckle through and I'm going to handle this.
Yeah.
And then I hated myself because I'm like, the hell did I do that for? I never asked anybody for any advice, never asked anybody for anything.
Yeah.
I just, you know, let me just bully through this and get it done, you know?
That's one change in me, like, this time, because I was a chronic relapser, you know?
Okay.
And
I'm
now...
glad you say was. See?
was.
Yeah, I was actually.
I think that's the...
I was going to point that out.
I think that's a little change right there, because
Good.
I'm not, like... When I speak to my sponsor, John, you know, he tells me all the time, you're going to be one of the ones that make it, because I'm so open. Like, I'm so open and honest with what's going on up here. And I was never like that.
Yeah.
You know?
Excellent.
But I was never like that. I used to hold shit in, or I guess fear of judgment, or... You know, and then what do they say all the time? As you continue, more will be revealed.
Yeah.
And that's so damn true, because I guess, you know, we've stuffed shit so deep that I'm like, oh, fuck, this happened, and shit pops up all the time, and I call him every single day.
Yeah.
He's like, you're sick, bro, keep coming.
I know. I love when he says that all the time. I'm sick.
So I tell him a funny story. When I started the step work with John, we opened the book, right? We were in the back of the house. He's like, you've been through the steps before. You want to, you know, thoroughly go through it page for page, or do you want to, you know? So we started talking for 10 minutes, and he looked at me. He's like, we're reading every word. It's like, that shit had me dying. You know? He's like, you need help, kid.
John always comes
he
up with
recognized it himself
Absolutely.
in you. That's
honestly,
what he did.
and I feel like he was put into my life for a reason as well, as far as Billy Bagels and all that things that he teach me, you know, comes from him.
Yeah.
And it's like a family, you know, like my transition, I guess you would say, from NA to AA was so easy because of where I live and the people I have around me all do AA. So when I noticed, you know, a lot of my support group and my friends were going out, and I did not want to use you know, be part of the No Matter What club.
Yep.
And I called him that night, and he's like, I've been waiting for this call. And I dived into the step
that's so
work with him,
cool.
and I've been growing ever since, you know. Yesterday he's like, bro, you're glowing. You know?
Cool.
And it's cool because you don't see the change in yourself, but when other people start to, it's an amazing feeling.
Yeah.
You know?
It's true.
It keeps me going.
Good.
Yeah.
I was just pushed to John by you. So
You were.
That was why don't you go talk to him?
Go talk to him. Go talk to him, because I was.
He's like, you need a sponsor. I'm like, shut up. He's like, go talk to John. I talked to him. Did you ask him? I go, no, I just talked to him.
Well, last night we said we were coming here, and he was like to you, I did my steps at that very table.
You look at that couch. yeah, he did do that.
Wait, which
You stare at that couch. I did this step on that couch. That counter.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny because John always, again, he's another person when he speaks. There's always something.
Yeah.
I'm so
Oh,
grateful
shit.
for that man in my life.
Yeah.
He's a solid. Again, we're lucky enough to find each other in this little group.
Yeah. And
you're with the right people.
And he's the first sponsor. I've had other sponsors in the past, but it's nothing like what I have with him. Like, my sponsor in NA hated calling him. Hated it. I dreaded it. I used to run errands just to call him because it's like, oh, I got to call this fucking guy. And he wouldn't shut the hell up. And I'm just like, it's not. Seriously, honestly.
I just got the opposite yesterday.
What?
I'm like, John, where were we? You want me to read tonight? Where were we in this book? He's like, I don't know. I'm like, you're my fucking sponsor. You're supposed to call me in like 3 weeks. I don't know.
I
I'm like,
call
all right,
him
I see you all the time.
I call him every single day. I think since I've asked him, I might have missed a day or two here. You know, and shit happens, and he'll text me at the end of the night. I guess you're recovered.
Oh,
What'd you do for your recovery today?
What'd you do for your recovery today?
just
Don't drink and go to
remember,
meetings. Don't drink and go to meetings. That shit is ingrained in me.
I remember Billy came home. He went to the 12 o'clock at the pit, and he came home and he's like, I said, how was your, the next day, I must have said to him, how was your meeting last night? He's like, I got this new guy. He was so out of it. He's like, I got this new guy.
Yeah.
He actually said, why do you got to raise your hands? He's like, he's that new. Because John was asking all the time.
John?
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah. Why are you raising your hands? Why you got to do, like,
That's
asking,
amazing.
like, all these, like, questions. And Billy's like, I got a really new, he was like, he
That's
was
awesome.
so happy
Yeah.
that he had this, he's like, I got a green guy.
Yeah.
You know what's funny that you just said that? Because John did that to me.
What?
I'd meet him at the first few meetings.
Yeah.
And he's like, does anyone have anything to say? I'm like, why is he fucking staring at me? No, I'm good. You know what I mean? Like, leave me alone.
That's amazing.
And he's like, you got to speak. I go, all right.
Yeah.
I will. I will. Relax, guy.
Yeah.
I bet you that's my appointment. I'll be back or not. Goodbye, everybody, if it's over.
All right. So you want to end
let's
it there? That
wrap
was a
it up.
great one. Yeah.
Very good. You got anything to say, Joseph?
I just want to say her recovery is truly, it's incredible. 22 years of sobriety, and you can hear it.
It's
from the first time I met her, you could see it. She's glowing. Attraction, not promotion. She's doing it.
My personal, what I personally believe in that whole thing is that she is super, super confident when she speaks.
Yeah,
but she's never confident in herself.
Well, that's like what people say with me. It's like, bro, you do a podcast, people listening to this all over the world now, and and it's just,
it's good stuff though.
It is great stuff.
Yeah, I'm glad we had her today. We'll have her again.
Yeah, this was a great episode.
And all right, well, you got anything?
No,
we don't have any.
There is a barbecue coming up for Thanks for Sharing. I don't remember the date. I'll announce it.
September?
It's in September. I'll announce it the next week.
Yeah, I think September 7th, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, for your Journey Begins barbecue, and then Justin's celebrating 2 years. Yeah.
All right, everybody, have a good one. Thank you.
Take care.
Bye-bye.